Hello and welcome back to our TOEFL reading series. Today, we are going to tackle a complete the words question. This task is like a detective game where we use context clues to fill in the missing letters of specific words within a paragraph. We will start by looking at the complete sentences to grasp the main idea, and then we will zoom in to solve the puzzles one by one. I am excited to guide you through this, so let's get started and boost your reading score. If you find these lessons helpful, please make sure to subscribe to my TOEFL and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more free content to assist you on your journey to exam success. Let's begin by reading the very first sentence of the paragraph. This sentence is complete, meaning it has no missing letters. It is very important because it sets the scene and tells us exactly what the main topic is. Listen carefully to the details about the location and the subject, as these will provide the clues we need to fill in the blanks later on. The ancient library of Alexandria was one of the most famous centers of knowledge in the Mediterranean world. This opening sentence introduces the specific subject of our text. We are reading about the ancient library of Alexandria. This tells us the time period is long ago and the place is a library. The text describes it as one of the centers of knowledge, which implies learning, books, and scholars. Finally, it locates this center in the Mediterranean world. Understanding this setting is crucial because the missing words in the next sentences will relate to activities that happen in a famous, ancient place of learning. Now, you might notice that we are skipping the next two sentences for a moment. This is a smart strategy. These sentences contain the missing words, and if we try to guess them now without the full picture, it might be difficult. Instead, we will jump ahead to the complete sentences at the end of the paragraph. By understanding the conclusion first, we will have a much better idea of the overall message, which will make filling in the blanks much easier when we return. We are moving on to the fourth sentence now. This sentence provides more detail about the purpose of the library. It is fully written out, so we can use it to understand the goals of the institution. Pay attention to what the library wanted to do with the books and information it collected. The institution aimed to gather texts from different cultures and preserve them for later generations. Here, we learn about the library's mission. The text says the institution aimed to gather texts. This confirms that collecting written works was a primary activity. It mentions these texts came from different cultures, showing an international scope. Crucially, the goal was to preserve them for the future. This idea of saving information for later helps us predict words related to keeping records or storing data. Let's look at the final sentence of the paragraph. This sentence wraps up the main idea and offers a conclusion. It tells us the lasting impact of the library. Understanding this ending helps us confirm that the whole paragraph is about the importance of academic work and history. Although much of the library was eventually destroyed, it remains a symbol of intellectual ambition and academic cooperation in the ancient world. This concluding sentence gives us the historical result. It admits that the library was eventually destroyed, but emphasizes that it is still a symbol today. It represents intellectual ambition and cooperation. This positive tone about knowledge and study reinforces the idea that the missing words in the middle of the text will be about serious academic activities like research, study, and collection. Now that we have a solid understanding of the entire context, let's go back to the second sentence where the gaps begin. We know this text is about a library and scholars in a city. We will use this context to fill in the first missing word. Scholars in the city would. In this specific part, we have the letter I followed by one blank space. We are looking for a small word that connects scholars with their location, the city. Since we need a preposition to show that the scholars were located inside the city, the only word that fits here starting with I is in. Let's stay on the same sentence and move to the next gap. This word describes an action that scholars would perform in a library. Scholars in the city would rare. Here, the letters C, O, and L are provided, and there are four blanks to complete the word. The sentence says the scholars would do something with rare items. In the context of a library, the main activity is gathering materials. The word starting with col, that means to gather or bring together, is collect. Continuing with the sentence, let's figure out what object the scholars were collecting. The adjective rare describes this noun. Scholars in the city would collect rare books, and for this word, the letters B and O are given, and we need to fill in 3 blanks. We know the library is a place for reading and knowledge. The phrase mentions rare items. The most common item found in a library, starting with bow, is books. The sentence lists another item the scholars collected. It is paired with rare books, so it must be a similar type of document. Scholars in the city would collect rare books and maps while recording scientific. This time, we have the letters M and A, and we need to fill in 2 blanks. The text says they collected books and something else. In ancient times, libraries also stored documents showing geography in the world. The word starting with ma that fits this category is maps. Now we look at what the scholars were recording. This word relates to scientific information. Scholars in the city would collect rare books and maps while recording scientific data for future. Here, the letters D and A are provided, and there are 2 blanks to complete. The phrase is recording scientific. When scientists record information or facts, we often use a specific noun. Starting with da, the word for factual information is data. We are at the end of the second sentence. We need to identify the purpose of recording this data. Scholars in the city would collect rare books and maps while recording scientific data for future research. For this word, we have the letters R, E, S, and E, and there are 4 blanks to complete. The text says they recorded data for future use. In an academic setting, information is preserved for later study and investigation. The word starting with res, that means systematic investigation, is research. Now let's move to the third sentence. We are looking for an adjective that describes the regions where students came from. Students from regions attended. In this part, the letter F is given, and we have 2 blanks to fill. The sentence mentions students coming from regions to the library. Usually, a famous center attracts people from distant places. The adjective starting with F, that means distant, is far. Next, we need to identify the activity the students attended at the library. Students from far regions attended lech and joined. Here, the letters L, E, C, and T are provided, and there are 4 blanks to complete. The students attended something. In a university or academic environment, students go to listen to a teacher speak. The word starting with lect that refers to these educational talks is lectures. The sentence continues by saying the students joined a specific group of people. These people were studying mathematics and astronomy. Students from far regions attended lectures and joined school, who studied mathematics and astronomy with great. For this word, we have the letters S, C, H, and O, and there are 4 blanks to complete. We are looking for a noun for people who studied mathematics and astronomy. These are learned people, or experts. The word starting with sku that describes serious students or experts is scholars. Finally, let's look at the last missing word. This describes the attitude or feeling with which they studied. Students from far regions attended lectures and joined scholars who studied mathematics and astronomy with great curiosity. In this final part, the letters C, U, R, and I are given, and there are 5 blanks to fill. The phrase describes studying with great interest. When you really want to learn or know something, you have this quality. The word starting with curi, that means a strong desire to know, is curiosity.